Welcome. We just got the first HackPack box from CrunchLabs, the IR turret. It's a super cool Adreno Nano powered turret, IR remote control. It can spin up and down and fire the darts, much like Nerf darts. So we're going to unbox it, build it, and have a look at its code. The kids and I have been playing with it for a few days now, and it's been a ton of fun. Whiskers here has gotten the most use out of it. He's been doing his best to keep the kids off the grass. And one of their favorite games is to play Candy Bandit, where I try to keep them away from my candy. Alright, so let's get started.
Let's get into our first box. First, we have a QR code letting you build along with Mark on YouTube. Then we have our instruction booklet, similar to any Lego booklet I'm sure most of us have seen. A pamphlet to build a planetary gearbox. Then we have a bag of orange rubber feet, plastic screws, plastic nuts, and some black O-rings. The next bag contains some servos, wires, a metal ring, breadboard, and IR remote. Next is the Adreno Nano itself. Then we have a cardboard tube with the plastic bits already installed. A rechargeable battery pack with a Type A and Type C connection, and a short USB cable, and a clear plastic strip. Another bag contains all 6 darts and one of those gears for the planetary gearbox. The last bag contains cut wood parts to build the turret itself and the actual planetary gearbox to house your project gears. Make sure you have all the parts available here. There's a list in the instruction manual and on the side of the box. The first step to build our turret will be make 4 identical feet of our turret. The piece in the middle will have a longer screw facing upwards and stay exposed, while another long screw and nut will keep the wood, exposed screw, and the feet together. Then we'll make the base by aligning each foot with a slot on the circular wood piece and securing it with another plastic nut. Next, it says test the darts by looping the rubber band on the top, then pulling it down to the base. Step 6 has us install our first yellow tagged servo with the wire going with the direction of the arrow on the wood piece. Then you'll secure that servo with 2 small screws. attach our metal ring with 3 more small screws. Make sure it's on the side with the orange part of the servo. Install another green label servo on step 9. It's important that you rotate the orange arm to install the servo. You need to return the arm to the original position. We had a bug here that I'll cover in my final thoughts. Next, we'll take the IR sensor and slip it through the spring with the final perpendicular loop of that spring at the bottom of the sensor. Once it's through the spring, cap it so it doesn't slip back through. Screw that spring against the wood with a small orange screw. This is where you'll need to point your IR remote later. Attach the 2 side pieces we assembled to the back piece with the metal ring on it. They'll slide through slots on the side. We'll use the O-rings to keep these pieces together by stretching them over the extruded piece. Install an orange cylinder support between the 2 wood pieces. Finally, we get to install the last blue labeled servo in the base. We're going to use the same steps before, where we secure it with 2 screws. After securing the side supports with more O-rings, install the orange cylinder support. This next step took a minute to figure out. One side is secured with the orange push clip, and the other side is secured by the 2 screws you'll use to connect the wood piece to the servo arm. The servo arm should be on the inside of the 2 supports. After routing all wires through the center hole so we can get them closer to the Arduino, you'll want to slide the plastic ribbon through the opening at the back. Once you've secured it, slide the battery into that plastic lid and make sure it doesn't fall out. Align the paper on top of your breadboard, then attach your Arduino where the paper says you should insert it. Typically, one side of the breadboard is a red column of power and a black column of ground. Then the other colored wires are actually where the adjacent pins on that Arduino. Remove the sticker plastic on the back of the pad and place the pads on the back as well. Then remove the plastic on the back of the breadboard and stick that on top. The wires can be tricky. You have 3 different 4-pin connectors. These will match the color of the wire, so you have a continuous run of red, black, green, yellow, etc. Think of the motor and IR sensor connections being vertical, while our 4-wire connections are horizontal. that you have all the wires connected, insert those 4-pin wires into the color-coded areas on your breadboard. The base is attached to the turret with 2 small screws into the bottom servo. Finally, the turret barrel slides on and is secured magnetically. Flip on the power switch on the breadboard, point your remote to the IR sensor on the spring, and use the arrow keys to move it around, and the OK button to fire. Currently it may move too fast and knock it off, but we'll fix that with some quality of life code. CrunchLabs supplies an IDE through your web browser from the product page. The IDE offers 3 levels of access to build your skills. First, you need to install the Arduino drivers following the instructions here. Once that's complete, plug the USB-C cable from your computer into here and your device will show on the device list. Then you compile and upload to your turret's Arduino board. Level 1 is read-only access, but supplies 2 other scripts for password access and a roulette game. It's easy to upload, and you can see how it works. The code is heavily commented and really tries to explain what's going on, which is very appreciated. Level 2 allows you to update the variables in the script, giving you some freedom to experiment without affecting the logic itself. My kids have a hard time aiming because the current speed of the pitch and yaw is way too fast for them. It says here we can change the pitch speed. It doesn't say which end of the suggested values of 3 to 10 is the slowest, so let's try 10. That seemed to be even faster. Let's go back and try 3. Nice and slow. We have the yaw speed set to 90, and it looks like we can go down to 10, so let's try 10. First, how fast is it right now? That's pretty fast. Click Compile and Upload. You'll see the device rehome. Let's try it again. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere despite the LEDs blinking. So let's try a yaw speed of 50. Compile and upload. Much better. The kids are going to be excited they can actually aim this now. Level 3 allows full access to the code with no babysitting. Our stock code has functions for shakehead yes and shakehead no, but they aren't used in stock code. The list of commands on the remote has CMD1 and CMD2, referencing the number 1 and 2 on the remote. Looking at our switch statement, we can add CMD1, and it can call shakehead yes. And CMD2 can call shakehead no. Uh-oh, we have an error that our methods are not declared in scope. While it looks okay, let's ask Mark Robot what we can do here. Copy the error and paste it into Mark Robot's chat box. Looks like they recommend moving the functions to lines before the loop method. Cut the methods, Control X of the loop, make some room, and Control V. All right, compile and run. Seems to compile. Let's test it out. Our device just homed. Let's test out our pitch and yaw. Looks good. 1 for yes, 2 for no.
All right, so now that we've seen everything, what do I think of it? Well, except for very few steps, the instructions were very clear, easy to follow. In fact, after building it the first time, I took it apart and my 7-year-old was able to build it with a little help, and especially with the wiring. So super easy. It comes with an actual Arduino instead of like an off-brand one, which is great for using, say, the official libraries with. I love the paper over the breadboard. It's color-coded and shows you where to plug everything in. Very beginner friendly. And it comes with a rechargeable battery pack instead of a cheaper battery box, making you provide your own, say, AA batteries. The magnetic barrel was a great idea to make reloading easier. CrunchLabs supplied files to 3D print some additional mounts and some of the parts for it, which is super cool. And online you can even get replacement parts, anything on it really, and they'll ship it to you. But the HackPack Discord has already commented on the issues that I've had, and the proactiveness and transparency has been great to see. So some cons, when rebuilding it, we installed the green pitch motor with a servo arm 180 degrees from its home position, causing the barrel to just full send downward, and when it can't go any farther, the servo would get extremely hot. The solution was to unscrew the mount, rehome it, and then screw it back in. And again, the HackPack Discord already had this covered, but I discovered that fix after I figured it out on my own. Also, when inactive for a bit, the battery pack tends to go to sleep. The Discord recommends maybe adding an LED or some other power-consuming add-on to keep the battery pack awake. Also, the movement is fast enough that the magnets may detach, causing the barrel to fall off. Luckily, that is something we can fix in code. So not a pro or a con, but the kit only came with a small screwdriver for the small screws. But the acorn nuts can take a socket, and the screws can take like a hex or Allen key. So finally, it's an expensive box. Currently on sale for about $67, but the MSRP is about $80 a box. You pay for a yearly subscription and get 6 boxes. I'm anticipating about one every 2 months. I love it. I think it's worth it for an adult-oriented box, and it's totally up my alley. I love this thing. So I'd appreciate it if you like the video, like it, subscribe. The next video I want to do, we have some add-ons like a distance sensor, some cheap cameras that I want to attach to this thing. I have another Adreno Nano IoT edition, so hopefully we can connect to it, say with our phone, and control it from there.